Welcome to the Dr. Saladani Show. Fans of Dr. Saladani call him the great genius, a figure that Nostradamus wrote about. His theories in math and astrophysics are used by government agencies. His theory E has proven Newton and Einstein are wrong. His prime algorithm is used by the NSA. His planetary distance formula is used by NASA to find new planets. His EOE theory is used by the USGS in earthquake prediction modeling. He founded two different think tanks including Helix Q, the artificial intelligence think tank. Dr. Adani is the founder of the cryptocurrency BizBytes. Dr. Adani is also the founder of the One Media Network. One Media produces dozens of podcast shows for the iPodcast network.
This is Dr. Saul Adoni. Welcome to another segment of the Dr. Saul Adoni Show. You can find more segments at sauladoni.com and ipodcast.org. Sauladoni.com is SOLADONI.com.
This is Dr. Saul Adoni. My website is sauladoni.com. It's SOLADONI.com. Now, I also operate some other websites. One is about a book I wrote about Great Quake, so you can go to greatquakes.com. And it has my EOE theory on it. That's the elliptical orbit effect. Now, EOE theory is based on this map. This is a map of the world. North America is up here, South America, Australia, Asia, Russia. These three lines, if you go back to the database on USGS and search for the past 150 years, the largest quakes in the 8.5 range, you'll see that all the quakes have struck on these three lines. So even though seismologists call this a ring of fire, it's not a ring. It's simple geometry. It's triangulation of the plates based on the elliptical orbit. Now, we just had a pulse on the core of the planet on July 4th, where July 4th this year, 2019, was the aphelion. We were the furthest distance from the sun. Now, on that day, the orbit of the Earth changes direction. It's like a slingshot. So that's why we're having a very strong seismic window right now. It's tied to the summer solstice. Now, I call these the solstice lines quakes, but it just so happens that of the last 150 years or so of quakes in the 8.5 range, only one struck over here in the Himalayas in that range. All the rest were on these three lines. Now, here's the line running right through the west coast of North America. So, California, Oregon, Washington, Canada, Alaska. These are all the areas that are having a lot of seismic area unrest right now. And the Mount Hood area is my main concern, because that's been in writings that I've had over the years, that the key to future events that create a lot of damage is when Mount Hood erupts. And right now we're having major seismic activity in the magma chambers underneath Mount Hood. So a potential eruption is near for Mount Hood. Now, this is the Triangle Fire. This is on greatquakes.com. My warnings are known as prophecies when they're released as Solag. Solag is my religious name, so you go to solag.com and you click on blogs. When you click on blogs, you'll be on the page where all my prophecies are stored for free. Now, from 1995 to 2016, I released around 60 of these so-called prophecies. And one of them is very famous, known as the Pentagram of Blood. As a matter of fact, there's a whole site devoted to the Pentagram of Blood prophecy. So here's Pentagram of Blood. You can see North America, all the tragedies strike on these 5 lines. quake striking on the circle around this pentagram. So the whole west coast is on this circle right here. And this is a closing line for the pentagram. The Haiti quake struck down here, Mexico City quakes. Great San Francisco quake was up here. So this map here on the pentagramofblood.com shows how human tragedies, terrorism, mass shootings, school shootings, hurricanes, etc., are all happening on these 5 lines. So that should be some interesting reading for you. Now, when you search on this blog, look for the pentagram of blood, solstice lines of death prophecy. And you can search on the page for Hood, and you'll see Mount Hood is on the pentagram of blood. So we go back here to the pentagram of blood. You can see up over here, that area is where Mount Hood is. Okay, so Mount Hood is like an anchor point of this pentagram of blood. And I flat out say, in the future, Mount Hood is going to erupt. And this prophecy was released near the end of when I started writing prophecies, November of 2015. So it's one of the last prophecies that I wrote. My work's complete as far as warning. All my writings contain future events that reshape humanity. Now, this is the video, Pentagram of Blood Prophecies. You can see the date it was issued. It was November 16th, 2015. So it's timestamped. All my work's timestamped. I've used Usenet for decades. That's the original social media of the internet going back to the 90s. And every Usenet post has a timestamp. Now you go specifically to the area of the video around 5 minutes 50 seconds in, you'll see volcanoes erupt on the pentagram of blood. Mount Hood erupts on the pentagram of blood. Alaskan volcanoes erupt on the solstice lines of the pentagram of blood. Volcanic ash covers large areas on the pentagram of blood. So I've been writing about these lines in the pentagram of blood for years. I've also written about Mount Hood being an anchor point. In my early writings, the video's out since 2015, and now we have reports by the USGS that we're having swarms of quakes under Mount Hood. So Mount Hood is going to erupt in the near future. So it's all over my writings. And this coincides with a series of great quakes along the West Coast. And these great quakes, if you're not prepared and move away from the West Coast, they can kill thousands, if not millions of people all up and down the West Coast. Biggest disasters are nuclear reactors. When these quakes hit, they cause tsunamis. Diablo Canyon, just north of Los Angeles, is at risk. The shutdown nuclear reactor near San Diego is at risk. So you got all these areas with nuclear waste that are prone to being swamped by a tsunami once these great quakes hit. Now, over the years, I wrote about an asteroid striking after 2022. Now that UFO disclosure has occurred, I have stated that the Greys will interfere and stop the asteroid from hitting. Okay, so now it's up to humanity to start doing what it can, knowing that you got nuclear reactors all over the coast of the Pacific, all over Asia, Japan, all over North America. You got all these nuclear reactors in these active quake faults where, quakes over 8.5 routinely strike. So we need to get the reactors shut down. Diablo Canyon scheduled for shutdown, I believe, in 2023. Should be shut down before then. And all the nuclear waste needs to be handled out of these facilities. Get them away from where tsunamis can wash over them. So that's why I'm putting out this release that my writings predicted the eruption of Mount Hood, and it could literally happen any day now. It could happen today. It could happen July 14th. We're in a seismic window when, due to the aphelion and the perihelion and also the spring solstice, these are the times when most of the quakes on the Triangle of Fire occur. So the big quakes always hit these three lines on the Triangle of Fire. Go back to the Triangle of Fire again. This is where 95% of 8.5 quakes hit. And also on these lines, all the quakes hit, almost half of them within a month of the spring equinox. So February, March, April, that's when most of these quakes hit. Then the combined times of the winter and summer solstice is when the other half occur. Very rare for a quake here of the largest magnitude to occur when a winter or fall equinox is in the area. So that's where you need to start studying the time of quakes. Spring equinox is the big window, and also winter and summer solstices with the least activity around the fall equinox. So here are the locations. I'm giving you the times, and now we have reports of swarms of quakes under Mount Hood. So be prepared, people. If you live in these areas, get way away from the west coast of the United States. This was Dr. Saladoni. Have a great day.
To listen to more podcasts from Dr. Saladoni, you can visit saladoni.com or ipodcast.org.